The other day, while on a vacation with my family, we had an experience, the experience which has imprinted in our minds. We were waiting to board on a train in a foreign country, eagerly anticipating the journey ahead. As the train approached, we stepped in, and when we entered the train, we noticed something peculiar. We could see no faces. It was as if there were no heads at all. Then something hit us. Yes, people over there in the train, every one of them, they were glued to their phones. Some people were sitting, some were standing, but everyone were engrossed to their screens, oblivious to the surroundings. We understood. Yes, we made sure that, okay, there were heads. Only after ensuring that indeed they had their heads, that we started to enjoy the train ride. We began to look around. We were appreciating the scenery. We were having a conversation among ourselves and simply being present in the moment. Back home that day, we were having a discussion about the experience we had the entire day. And one bitter truth hit all four of us. Yes, the train journey. There was a powerful reminder from that train journey. There was a bitter truth. The fact is that, the painful fact I can say is that we are less in connection with our own emotions. We are less connected to our own self. When we are less connected with our own self, how do we can communicate with the outside world? How do we connect with the next person near you? And none of us understood the fact that human connection is irreplaceable. Consider this. One side we have our desires, the other side we have our actions. The desire, we want stronger families with great bonding with each other. The action, we spend more time on our devices than with our loved ones. The desire number 2, we want better relationships. The action, we fail to communicate openly and honestly. Desire number 3, we want our children to thrive and excel in their field. The action, we struggle to find quality time and give the supportive environment, and all this happens because of the hijacked attention, scattered thoughts, and ineffective multitasking. So there is no synchronization between what we want and what we do. There is a misalignment between our actions and desires, between our aspirations and actions. And when we are not able to achieve our aspirations, we don't look back our actions, rather we complain about life, we become frustrated and we start complaining about life. My question to you, why do we have to complain? Rather, why can't we conceive a powerful approach to find an equilibrium between the technological overload and the human collection? And one such powerful approach we have is living mindfully. Mindful living, it's a practice. Yes, it's a practice to be aware of your own feelings, to be aware of your own thoughts, to be aware of your own body sensations, to be aware of the environment around you. It's a practice that consciously pays attention to the present moment now. And embracing mindfulness gives us plenty of advantages. We will be able to channelize our strength. We will be able to have improved relationships. We will have a better mental clarity. We will have emotional stability. We will have an overall well-being, because living mindfully is a holistic approach. And now that a question comes, how do I live mindfully? Is it such a big thing? Is it such a hard thing to practice? No. Those are simple techniques which you can practice in your day-to-day life, and it will become an integral part of your life. And technique number 1, touch as a feather. Touch as a feather. Your palms will get closer to your eyes, will get closer to your eyes, will get closer to your eyes. Your eyes will be closed. There you'll be focusing on your breathing and this touch as a feather. If you do 3 minutes in the morning and 3 minutes during your bedtime, appears to be a simple act, but it'll have a profound impact on your mindset. Technique number 2, do nothing. Do nothing. Every single day, allot a time where you do nothing. That'll help you to have a connectivity with your own emotions, with your own self. Technique number 3, sounds around you. Take 3 minutes to sit and observe all the sounds around you. Maybe a sound of a fan, sound of somebody talking, the sound of the notification in your phone. Sounds around you. Number 4, brush your teeth with left hand. Number 5, yoga. Number 6, eat your food. I repeat, eat your food. Relish the smell. Taste it. Understand the deliciousness of the food. Number 7, digital detox. Set aside a time, maybe Sunday half a day or Sunday full day. You just have to put away your gadgets. And digital mindfulness. When I talk about mindfulness, I need to emphasize the fact which I read in the Harvard Gazette. From the Harvard Med School, an instructor in psychiatry, he had given a list. Like over more than 16.1 million people in the West are affected by some kind of chronic illness, some mental disorder, depression, anxiety disorder. And they tried out antidepressant medications, talk therapy, whatever they could. And that instructor from the Harvard Med School, he is giving an interesting fact that all those medications, all those therapies which they had been given so far, that will help only for quite some time. And it will work only with certain kind of people. And they started finding an alternative approach. When they were looking for an alternative approach to treat those kind of people with that mental disorders or chronic illness, they found that mindfulness meditation is the best technique ever to treat those patients. And we should be proud to know that that mindful meditation, it's originated from us. We the proud Indians, we have in our Vedas and Upanishads, Smriti, it is called mindfulness. Chinta, it is mindful living. So they have started adapting from us to them, the mindfulness meditation. And when I talk about digital mindfulness, I just need to share an interesting transformation which takes place in my household every single day. At 8 p.m., every single day after the dinner is over, we, the 4 of us, spend some time in the living room and we see to it that all our gadgets, our laptop or mobiles are just left in the living room at a designated spot. And to be honest, that has become a practice. It's not forced by any rigid rules or stern faces. It has become a natural rhythm in our day-to-day life. And all that understanding had come from the fact that we need to reclaim our time. We understood that we need to have a connectivity with each other. We need to have a family time. So now that it has become an integral part of our life. All these techniques put together, still the list goes on. And all these techniques, I assure you, you can make it an integral part of your life and you will see the visible difference in the way you look at your life and in the way you live your life. Once you start practicing these techniques, definitely you will know how to channelize your stress. Definitely you will have a family bonding. Definitely you will have improved mental health and physical health. You will have more focus and concentration. And when all these techniques are told to people, listening to all that for the first time, we the humans have the tendency to just put it into practice because we are always enthusiastic and energetic to put something into practice for the first time, like our New Year resolution. We begin all our New Year resolution with so much energy and enthusiasm. For some people, it lasts for a week. For some people, it lasts for a month. For some people, it lasts for 2 months or so on. But who gets the real benefit is somebody who's consistent in practicing it. Likewise, if you want to be at present, if you want to maintain an equilibrium between technological overload and human connection, if you want to live mindfully and have a harmonious family life and professional life, we need to practice, but it is not just staying intentional with it. Living mindfully demands two aspects. One, self-discipline. Number two, self-motivation. Self-discipline. It will help you to have a consistency in the practicing mindfulness techniques. It will help you to stay focused and tune out the noise. Self-discipline will help you to have a resilience. No matter what, it will give you an inner strength to practice those techniques day in and day out. Self-motivation. That is what it matters a lot. Once you just start practicing these techniques, once you start getting the benefits, once you start understanding the visible difference in your own self, in your own mindset, in the way you have become more positive and confident towards life, you become more motivated. So self-discipline will help you to be committed and grounded to practice the techniques, and self-motivation will give you the passion and the energy to pursue that. Together, the self-discipline and self-motivation, it serves as a powerful synergy. This dynamic duo, what will happen is, it will not only help you to begin the journey of embracing mindfulness, but it will also help you to sustain it and reap the benefits in the long term. So embracing mindfulness, it's not about rejecting technology. It is cultivating a harmonious and intentional relationship with it. We are at the crossroads of innovation and transformation, where digital era has revolutionized every facet of our lives. The way we communicate, the way we have democratized access to information, the way we have voice for the voiceless, the way we have global interconnectedness. So it's not about technological advancement. Digital era is about enhancing human experience. And the key is how intentional you are in using the technology, ensuring that you enhance your overall well-being. So embracing mindful living, it's not a mere suggestion. It's a call to action. And at this juncture, I urge the schools to take an initiative to teach mindfulness techniques to the children. Schools play a crucial role in bringing those mindfulness in the school children. And one such technique is a gratitude journal. Imagine this. Along with your regular notebooks and school books, students will be given a gratitude journal. Once a week, 8 minutes before the end of the school closing time, students will be asked to write the gratitude journal. In the sense, they will ponder upon, they will think, they will reflect of what they were grateful for the entire week. Furthermore, let me propose that students seek the signature in the gratitude journal from their parents, from both the parents. Requiring the signature from both the parents is with an intention, because that extends to the family now. When the parents read that, when they reread that every week, they will start contemplating over what they are grateful for, and parents will start counting their blessings. It will not only foster a positive environment at home, it will also promote a culture of gratitude at home. And imagine parents, once they started getting the benefits, once they start understanding that their life is becoming little more peaceful, little more blissful, little more harmonious, now that they're able to focus more on their work and their family, once they start seeing the difference in themselves, once they understand that they're able to handle the situations much better than earlier, now that they will try to explore a little more in knowing more about mindfulness techniques. And when they know a little more, and when they start following certain social media accounts which enrich their life, I urge them to follow some social media accounts which really enrich their life, because on an average, a single person thinks 60,000 thoughts per day. And the most startling fact is that 95% of the thoughts is what he was thinking the day before. So follow those accounts, and parents will start finding out ways and means to enrich their lives more. And what happens is they will start sharing them by their friends, their relatives, the neighborhood. The ripple effect, which started from the school's initiative, from the students, it has gone to the parents, from the parents, it's going to the community now. It has a greater impact. It has a profound impact because mindfulness is such a technique which helps you to connect with your own self, which helps you to have a harmonious life. So together, we try to create an appreciative, mindful, and harmonious community where every one of us can realize and cherish the beauty of life. Live your life, love your life. Life is beautiful.